How's it going, Neil? Neil Citron
Good,
here.
good. Just getting some coffee down my throat.
It's good old coffee. Is it early morning where you are?
Yeah, oh well, 10:30, so not that early, but I've been working later lately, so it seems early.
So what projects have you been doing these days?
Well, I just finished recording John Waite's new record that's coming out this month. And I'm producing a band called BOS. And I'm working with a new young guitar player named Alex Sill. And I produced a music segment for him for an ASPCA commercial, about saving dogs and cats at shelters. So, a little of this, a little of that. It's all pretty crazy.
So in that sense, you're keeping really busy.
Yeah, it's been good.
So another thing too I've seen is you got the GTR 3 amps. How's that going? And what's the process, to get an amp like that?
And it sounds really great. And I think it's as far as plug-in amps go, I haven't heard anything that kills it. So I'm pretty happy with it.
What type of process does it take, and how much time to make a product like that?
Well, the tweaking takes time. The actual sampling was a day, a big full day, about 10 hours. And then Amir at Wave started tweaking on it, and then he would send it to me, and then I would adjust EQ curves and assign. One of the things that's different about that amp is that the middle on the amp isn't the middle that you'll find in a Marshall. It's the middle that I wanted to be able to EQ to a sound that I've already recorded, like you would if you were recording, in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
So I altered all the EQs in the amps to not be officially Marshalls, but what would sound better if you were recording once you had the sound up.
So this is something you had in your, you had visioned in your brain and got it out.
Correct. That's correct. Yeah, because most people, they record an amp and the engineers EQ'd it, and now you've got your amp sound, and then they EQ it again when they mix. So I wanted it to already be EQ'd when you used it, which is what it is, and then the EQ is more like a mixing EQ, so you can then take it much further once you're working with it.
So where does people buy this product?
Waves. If you buy Waves, you can either buy it solo version. No, I'm sorry. GTR 3 is the only one that has the amp, or which is on their website. Yeah, the solo doesn't include my amps, but their regular GTR without the interface, I think it's not very expensive, and you can get the amps with that.
So it must be a good feeling, to have your own, series out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I've had a lot of very nice emails about it. That's the best thing, is that people have used it and liked it. That's what's important.
Another thing too that you're known for is appearing on Rehab, the Quiet Riot album in 2006.
Yeah. It was that all came about in a very funny way, but my perspective is that I feel very blessed that I got to work with Kevin on the last recording before he passed away. It's something that I'll have my whole life, and I know that he from time to time got a bad rap, but I can only tell you from my experience, he was the most gracious, most wonderful person to work with. He is a rock and roll encyclopedia. I mean, it was crazy what he knew in his brain. It was pretty nuts.
Considering he was frontman Quiet Riot for many years and a super voice on top of it, how was it working in the studio with him?
It was a piece of cake. It was easy. In fact, we did a remake of a song called Evil Woman by Spooky Tooth, and the original had two singers on it, back and forth, and so he brought in his friend Glenn Hughes, who I'm sure you know.
For sure.
And they did a battle back and forth in the verses live, standing next to each other. It was pretty fun. Kevin was easy. I mean, at 10 in the morning, he would start and he'd sing full blast. Not a wimp at all.
Recall recording your guitar parts, like what type of stuff you would have been using at that time? Was it your equipment?
Yeah, I used my Tom Anderson Telecaster for most of it. The vibrato arm stuff was my my Vi white guitar, my Jim.
Mm-hmm.
Steve got me that for a birthday present when it first came out. Anything that has vibrato arm on it is that. Other than that, it's my Tele. And I used the plexi that I used for the GTR. I used some Mesa Boogie, and I used the Carvin Legacy.
Would you say that the tone that, comes out of that album was tweaked a lot, or?
No, pretty much not touched much. Yeah, I used multiple microphones and multiple amps and kind of blended it, but that was the most of tweaking that I did, was just blending the sounds that I got. I wanted the thing about that album in particular is Frankie and Kevin really liked blues-based stuff like Free, Bad Company, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it was an effort for them to make it sound more like Quiet Riot doing that they were not known for, but that they loved. So my guitar's a little restrained in the mix because I wanted it to be more like a Paul Kossoff thing where it's not so in your face. And I think we got really good drum sounds and good vocal sounds, and so that was kind of the flavor of the record that we went for.
And how long did you stay in Quiet Riot, and from the beginning to the end?
Well, it's really funny because, officially, I wasn't really ever in Quiet Riot. What happened was Alex, the guitar player who was their touring guy, they had, Quiet Riot was on hiatus for a moment, and he got busy with another group, and the songs were written, and Alex didn't have time to record the record, and so I had written some of the songs with Frankie and Kevin, and so they asked me to play on the record, which I did. And then I only did the live radio show because we had so many guitar parts. There was too much for Alex to just play by himself. They really needed another, guy. So I did Rockline with them live, and that was really the only live performance I did with them.
But in that case, you went into history books at Quiet Riot, as a member.
Yeah, but, I say I was a member, politely. Like I said, I mostly played on that one record and did one gig with them, and became good friends with Kevin after that, and Frankie's one of my dearest friends now after that, and I've done a lot of stuff with Frankie since then.
And Quiet Riot has a new album coming out. Have you helped them work on this at all?
Yeah. I have been working with Frankie, and we are in the process of doing new stuff.
So it seems like you're keeping really busy for 2011. What's in store for this summer?
Well, I have a band called Bang Tower.
Okay.
And it's got the bass player from Brand X, Percy Jones. And Walter Garces is the drummer. He's from Electric Prunes. And it's instrumental. People have been calling it prog-ish because it's not solid prog. We have very little keyboards, but I kind of liken it to maybe Beck with Jan Hammer in that sense, so that there's definitely Percy Jones's crazy, bass parts under there. Thus, the progressions are a little, crazier, but it's still sort of blues rock based. And we're talking to booking agents now. We've gotten good reactions to the record. A lot of reviews, and people like it. So we're going to try and tour by summer. So the head of the label's busy working on that.
So basically touring like a little bit in California, and how far would you say?
Percy lives in New York, so I'm hoping that we're going to actually do the East Coast first. Yeah, we're trying to do New York, Chicago, Philly, that whole neck of the woods, first. And the drummer lives out here with me in L.A., so we would bring Percy out here and rehearse for the show, and then we'd all fly back and go.
So for your personal collection, let's say, What do you have? Like, do you have a lot of guitars, or you just stick with what you play and you endorse?
I have 58 guitars.
Okay, so you got a big collection.
I have a few, yeah. And it started off years ago when my first band was touring, and we had per diem. And in those days, you know, I mean, they fed me, and they gave me a hotel and cleaned my clothes. There wasn't anything to do with the per diem, and we were getting $50 a day per diem. So by the end of the week, I'd have $300 to spend on a guitar.
Hmm.
And we were traveling all over. I bought Strats and Tellys, all sorts of stuff all over. I think the most I ever paid for a guitar was $1,000 then.
And now they'd be certified classics, would you say?
Yeah, I have some definitely pieces. Yeah, I have the pink Paisley Telly. I think that's worth a lot of money. I mean, that's stuff, but mostly I had collected it thinking that one day I'd get out of the music business and I'd have my retirement.
Ah, yes.
so that's what I'm waiting for.
But it didn't happen yet.
Not yet. Thank God.
Well, Neil, it was great talking to you and seeing what you've been up to. Like a producer, also, you keep her super busy, always working, I'm sure, every day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to stay busy. In fact, I even worked with a rap guy named Mac 10. That was like really a left turn for me. So, yeah, 2011's been pretty interesting so far.
And we're still in the beginning of it.
Yeah. You got it. Have a great day, Jason.
All right, you have a good one, Neil.